right. Then let's find a seated position on the mat. And just spend a second connecting to your breath, connecting to your body, becoming aware of maybe your posture, and maybe creating a goal for today's practice. And let's start by practicing a 3-part breath. So I think we've done this in one of our classes before. We'll start by inhaling, breathing into the stomach, and then into the sides of the ribs, and then into the chest. And as we exhale, exhale out the stomach, out the sides of the ribs, and out of the chest. Inhale, stomach, sides, and chest. And exhale, stomach, sides, and chest. At your own pace, let's go through a couple more of these breaths. And after the next exhale, we'll start to bring our breathing back into its normal pattern. Just getting comfortable here. On the next breath, let's involve our arms, inhaling up to the sky, exhaling arms down to our sides. Let's inhale our arms up, interlacing the fingers, exhale to the right side. And inhale center, exhale left. Inhale center, exhale arms straight out in front of you, maybe walking them out on your mat. And slowly walk the hands back to your tall torso. Placing the hands on the mat, let's swing the legs around into a tabletop position. And let's start by warming up our spine in cat-cow. So inhaling in cow, exhaling in cat at your own pace. Just becoming really aware of the movement of the spine. And whenever you're ready, we'll bring that to stillness. Let's reach our right foot out back behind us, stretching through the calf there. And dropping the knee to the ground, we'll reach the left foot out back behind us. And we'll release that knee back to the mat as well. Next, we'll tuck both the toes, lifting the hips back and up into downward facing dog. Maybe walking out the heels a little bit for our first downward dog of the day. And on the next breath, making sure the knees are bent, let's start to walk our hands back to our feet into a forward fold. Perfect. Just spend a second here. And placing the hands on the shins, let's inhale, lift up halfway. Exhale, reach down to the toes. And inhale all the way up to mountain. From mountain, let's inhale our arms to the sky. Interlace the fingers, exhale right, just like we did when we were seated. Inhale center, exhale left. Inhaling back to the center, engaging the core on the exhale, we'll do a little back bend. And inhale back to center, exhale forward fold. In forward fold, you might want to walk your hands to the right and to the left, or you can place your fingers in the corners of your elbows for ragdoll. Just spend a second here stretching out the backs of the legs. And whenever you're ready, let's bend the knees, reaching the hands to the mat, and walk forward into a plank. This can be a plank on your knees or your toes, whichever one you prefer, as long as you're a long straight line. And we'll just spend a second here, enjoying your plank, engaging the core. On the next breath, let's slowly lower all the way to the mat, onto our bellies. On the inhale, let's lift up to a baby cobra, so just a few inches off the ground. Exhale back down to the mat. And on the next breath, let's tuck the toes and lift the hips into a downward facing dog. Spending a few breaths here. And on the next breath, let's step the feet up to the hands into a forward fold. Inhaling up to a half lift. Exhaling, reaching down a little bit further. And let's inhale all the way up to a mountain pose. All right, from here, let's start to walk the feet out to the sides just a little bit. So they should be just off your mat. Perfect. Let's inhale the arms up to the sky and exhale into a wide-legged forward fold. And I'll give you a second in this pose. You're welcome to play around with it, maybe walking your hands to one side and then the other. One option for a little bit of a twist is to place one hand in the center of your mat while reaching the other one up to the sky. Just enjoying the pose, stretching out whatever needs to be stretched. And on the next breath, let's come back to stillness in the center. Let's heel toe walk those feet in just a little bit. And bending in the knees, place the hands on the mat and we'll step back to a plank. Either on your knees or on your toes. One long straight line for a moment. And if you're on your toes on the next breath, let's drop our knees to the mat. We'll start to place our weight onto our right hand and our right knee. And see if you can lift up, opening the left arm to the sky and straightening that left leg out over the right. Perfect, in a side bridge. Engaging the quadratus lumborum here. It's a really essential deep muscle. On the next breath, we'll bring that left hand back to the mat and open up the right side. So right arm reaching to the sky, right leg straight out. And on the next exhale, we'll drop that right arm back to the mat. Perfect. From this position in tabletop, let's tuck the toes up into a plank. Lots and lots of planks today. And then we'll step the right foot forward into a low lunge. You're welcome to drop that left knee or to keep it straight out behind you, whichever one you prefer. And let's inhale, lifting the arms and the torso to the sky into a crescent or high lunge, opening up that hip flexor. And from here, we'll have a little pick your own adventure. So you're welcome to keep your arms up in the sky, or you're welcome to bring your hands to your knees. Another option here is to interlace your hands behind your back and kind of drop them, opening up the chest. So we'll just spend a minute here in whichever position you prefer. And from here, wherever you're at, let's place both those hands back on the mat. Let's walk that right foot over to the left hand, dropping the knee into a pigeon pose. And you're welcome to be on your hands or your elbows for this one. For a little bit bigger of a stretch, you're also welcome to reach that left hand back behind you, holding onto the left foot or ankle. And wherever you're at, let's place both those hands back on the mat. And starting to tuck the toes in the back, we'll step the right foot back to a plank. On your next breath, we'll step the left foot up into a lunge. And inhale, lift the torso and the arms into a high lunge or crescent pose. Opening up the hip flexor, waking that up. And from here, you're welcome to either keep your arms up in the sky in that back bend, bringing them to your knee, or you're welcome to interlace them behind you, opening up the chest as well. From here, on your next exhale, let's bring those hands back to the mat. And we'll walk that left foot across to the right hand into a half pigeon. Picking whatever position is best for you with your hands or your elbows on the mat. And on the next breath, if you're not on your hands right now, let's lift up to the hands and we'll tuck the back toes Stepping back into plank. Your core will thank you later. And let's drop the knees here into a tabletop position, keeping the toes tucked. Let's walk the hands back as far as you'd like, but maybe into a kneeling position for some fire toes, stretching out the feet, giving the rest of your body a break, but paying attention to your feet here. And I'll hold this for just another breath or two. And then we'll start to walk the hands forward on the mat again, back into a tabletop position. If you need to, shake out your feet here. And let's start to walk the hands back into a high kneeling position. We're going to enter camel pose here. So starting off with your hands like they're in your back pockets, let's just start off with a little back bend. If you want to, you can walk your hands down your back to your ankles. Just make sure the core is really engaged because we don't want to stretch further than we need to here. And you're welcome to walk your hands in and out of camel pose. You're welcome to straighten up and then come back into the pose. This one is basically just opening up our chest, which is a really good way to wake up the body and also just to get our shoulders out of that rounded position that they spend so much time in already. And whenever you're ready, let's start to come up out of camel pose. We can drop the hips onto the feet through a kneeling position and slowly just start to walk the hands forward into child's pose. This will be basically the opposite of what we just did, so take your time getting into the pose. Enjoy the little break that your body's giving after so much up and down. Let's walk our fingers over to the right side for a big stretch in the left side body. And let's walk the fingers over to the left side. And back to center. And we have about 3 minutes. You're welcome to stay here in child's pose, or you're welcome to have a little short shavasana, in which case you would just want to roll around onto your back. On your next breath, let's start to become aware of the body once again. Maybe rolling the wrists and the ankles. Let's hug the right knee into the chest. And then the left. And dropping that left foot to the mat, let's bring the right leg into a tented position as well. And dropping to the left side, rolling onto our sides here. Spend just a second, and then we'll start to walk our torso up to a seated position. And here in our seated position, thank yourself for coming to yoga, for taking care of your body today. Let's inhale our arms up to the sky and exhale in the heart center. Thank you guys for being so good and for doing yoga with me, even though I can't do it myself. I hope you have a wonderful day. Namaste.